Hey there, hope you're doing amazing. So in this video, I want to show you what we've done here at Cyroscape in the last couple of years and what this can look like for you and your SaaS company, right? How we've been able to scale these companies and what this looks like. Because I get this all the time, on sales calls and just talking with other SaaS founders, they ask me, how have we been able to do this in a lot of different use cases, right? So I want to walk through and just show you a little bit about how we've done this and some of the results. So number one here, now, we went from scaling a company doing about $300 a month. They were selling a course as well as an e-learning product, so sort of together a SaaS, right? And it was basically an AI SaaS as well as this course, and they were looking for a Series A round. Now, they were always talking about hitting revenue goals at the end of the month to show investors consecutive growth. This was happening around the 2021 to 2022, mid-2022 period, and so this was a time when a lot of companies weren't getting investors interested, right? And they had been on a heavy growth phase for this entire time, and they were spending about $2K a month on ads, right? So this was a look inside their Thinkific portal here. You can see that for the month of November to December 2022, they had done 2 transactions, right? So $150 per transaction. And that's where they were hovering around, right? This was really consistent for them. They had really good launches and then had a lot of difficulty getting any organic growth at all, right? Even with paid, right? They weren't getting that growth. So after they had worked with us, we had positioned them for long-term month-over-month growth. We created an infrastructure that allowed them long-term growth and created the possibilities for investments, right? So this was creating things like community, being able to generate them new assets, new landing pages, new offers, and putting all this together, right? They were able to have things like email automations. They were able to reactivate a list that was quiet, that they had not contacted, right? And we had built them systems for testimonials, and we received incredible market feedback around their products, right? So this is something that they also didn't understand was the products they were putting out there, they didn't know what people thought. It was a lot of, hey, this is my gut feeling, this is what I think the market wants, but we didn't really know, right? So what our approach was is to look at the data, to put together massive amounts of data and then make decisions based off of that and continue to run the ads in that way. So we rebuilt their approach for paid, right, using this and using short form style creatives, which did really, really well. So you can see some of the results here, right? Just at March to April, we were able to generate over 62K in revenue. And this is just some of the pages we actually ended up hitting 75K this month, right? And look, our landing pages were getting at this point, I don't think this is fully accurate, but 7% conversion rate. At this point, we were able to get a different page for them also, all the way from a 0.4% conversion rate all the way up to 17% consistently, right? So before, they were struggling with converting prospects. They had to try countless lead magnets, different landing pages. They had no idea about selling digital products, right? So for a company that lives online, for a SaaS company where your primary way of selling people is through getting in front of them online, you have to have a great landing page, right? It doesn't make any sense to try and sell any other way, right? Like, you're not going to be, if you're in the B2B space, sure, maybe sales calls, but if you don't have a great contact you page or something like that, you're not going to get people to convert. If you don't have the whole funnel in place, it's just broken, right? We talk to a lot of people with great product, right? They have an excellent infrastructure in place for building, for devs, for everything like this, right? But the issue is they do not have consistent cash flow coming in, right? So when they were struggling to convert, they were getting around this 0.4%. And then after we had worked with them, right, February, March 2023, this was getting 17% conversion rate. And this held for over 6 months, right, as we were working with them in this time period. It was crazy. It was absolutely insane because they weren't spending any more money on ads. It was literally just the assets that were then created for them and that they didn't have to do anything, right? And it was just sort of every week, wow, looking at the numbers and saying, great, let's put more ad spend down. Let's keep growing this thing because it's incredibly profitable, right? So without spending any more on ads, we were generating 42.5% or times the increase in conversions, which proved it was not a product issue that they had, right? It was actually marketing and approach. And this is something that a lot of founders actually start to struggle with is, they think it's their product. Now, that's a scary thing for a founder because they start to think, well, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right thing for the market? Do I have product market fit, right? And when you start to question these core beliefs, it has an effect on your business, it has an effect on your performance. So when you're able to then rule this out and not have to worry anymore about whether or not your product is good, it's really a question of how do you scale it, right? It's a question of how do we get this in front of as many people as possible? Because this was the issue with them. They were looking at such a small sample size that they were making decisions based on a small, tiny bit of data. And when you start to do this, you get into really bad spirals, right? Where you're starting to make a lot of decisions based on some power that you don't know, right? And a lot of times I see this in the context of getting funding. A lot of companies do want to get funding, right? They do want to get angel money. They do want to get VCs interested. And you're not going to get anyone interested, right? Unless, there's this unicorn chance, there's tiny percent chance that you're going to actually get this done and then be valued as a unicorn before making any money if you're pre-revenue, right? But that's usually not the case, right? A lot of people in the SaaS space want to create apps, want to get things out there, want to eventually sell as well. So being able to show that you have month-over-month growth, that you have an upward trend there with your additional monthly recurring revenue, that tells a really great story, and that is more powerful than any spin you can put on the product or on elevator pitches or anything like this, especially when you're approaching any sort of funding round, right? So another one here, this was another company that had come to us looking to grow as well. We were spending at one point here over 134K just about in ad spend. And from there, they were able to grow, all the way up to 1.1 million, right, in just 30 days on that return on ad spend. So that's also pretty insane, about a 10x return just on the ad spend there. And that one was very quick, right? So when you're able to have this stuff dialed in, when you have the funnel, when you have the emails, when you have all the flows in place, you're able to create incredible returns just from paid, right? So this is when we really want to get to the scaling period, right? It's not for everyone, right? You need to have the basics in place. You have to have achieved some sort of level of product market fit. And then from there, you can really start to grow incredibly quickly and bring in other channels as well. So number 4 here, something else we worked on was creating a monetizable community, right? Gaining market insights and owned attention. So this is something that a lot of companies struggle with, right? A lot of companies build a product and the founder thinks, hey, this is a great idea. I see a use case for this, but they just go ahead and release it, right? They just go ahead and say, hey, let's see what the market says. And usually they've spent all their money on development, or they've spent all their money on the intellectual property, or something like this, right? They've created the website, they've created all these things that are vanity metrics usually, right? A lot of things that you don't necessarily need to have fully in place, right? But they don't have the marketing aspect. They don't have enough money for ads. They don't have enough money to create content that actually educates the market on what needs to be done. So here what we did is created a monetizable community build out. And this is a high leveraged asset, right? So we were gaining market insights and owned attention for them because at the beginning, they had no idea what their customers wanted in future products. They were completely out of touch with their customer avatar, did not know really what their customer avatar was. And they needed a community to create a tiered membership plan to gain even more assets and insights for their customers, and to also create another monetization system, right? Because at the beginning, if you just have a SaaS, if you just have a product or an info product, that's only going to get you so far, right? That's scalable for sure. But if you want to get to the next level, if you want to create depth, if you want to create real relationship with your customers, you need to have that community aspect, whether or not in SaaS it's for support or whether it's something about interest, right? Is it something where you can gain a lot of users talking and getting excited, all based around your product and about what you do and about your mission? These are two of the key ways in which you can build up, right? So this is something that worked incredibly well for them. So you can go over and see, we were able to get offline here 300 members, and this was just in the course of 1 or 2 months, right? So this happened really quickly. We built out all of these channels, and people got really, really excited about it. So after we had created it, they had a community that immediately allowed them to iterate and make more profitable products, right? We were able to just say, hey, what do you guys think about this, right? Hey, what do you think about this change? What do you want us to add to the course? What do you want us to add to the AI, right? What do we want to add to our software, right? And then immediately you're getting feedback. So this is incredibly powerful and something that the company didn't even understand at the beginning that they even needed, right? But once we had it, it was a blissful conversion for them. They really enjoyed the process of getting to talk to their customers instead of just sending emails through, Zendesk or help support tickets or through their company support email, right? You get way closer, and we even hosted, weekly calls there with instructors, etc., right? So we were able to establish a new aspect to their pricing model as well to include access to this private community and charge a higher ticket recurring payment for content subscriptions for exclusive access. So this was incredible for them. They were able to not only increase their ticket price for their product, but also to get more value and create better products in the future, right? So this is a huge insight for a lot of SaaS companies out there that are not doing on this. They're just sleeping on this, right? So we'll go over one or two more here. So 19K spent on ads, again, 120K in purchases, right? Pretty incredible transformation here, just in a very short amount of time as well for a lot of these companies. Another one here doing 50K spent, got another, 5x return on this one, a little bit more, right? 276K in return. So another pretty crazy one going on here. And this was an interesting case that we were working with. So in this case study, we took a 10K email list, 25K, was to 25K, right? And so this was a 150% increase just from content that we created. We weren't doing any ads. We weren't pushing anything else. It was just because of the content out there, right? So we were also able to generate a different company here in the context of, this was inside their Klaviyo account. We were able to go from just adding an extra 30K leads in just 60 days from 2K in ad spend, right? That is a incredible change for them, because most of the time, what does a lead cost? We're seeing typically anywhere from $15 to $40 in ad spend, right? Or in lead cost, right? So let's even go in the middle there, right? So let's just say 20 times 30K leads. That would set you about 600 grand, right? That's pretty incredible. We did it with just 2K in ad spend, right? So this was something that was really helpful. You can see here, this is the trending increase. So we started with January, 154, 500, 1,000. And then we were adding in here, 13,000, 17,000, right? That's incredible for them. And so once you're able to do this, you're able to get a whole lot more insights and be able to sell products directly to your customers, right? That's the other blissful aspect of community over here. When you have a new product, you can sell it out inside of your server, inside of your community, be it on Facebook, whatever platform, Discord, Slack, whatever, you can start selling in advance. So what I want you to understand is if you don't have community, if you don't have ability to directly talk and exchange with your customers, you're at a loss, right? And most people are in this place. Most people are out of touch with their consumers. If you look at some of the biggest companies in the world, some companies like Stripe, for example, their CEOs, their C-level management would sometimes jump in on the support side, right? They would go in and talk to customers one-on-one. And the reason being is because you get great insights into what customers want and to what are the things that are actually going to drive the needle forward in terms of building the business. So this is something that most people don't do. Most people say, hey, look, I'm a growing business owner. I've got to fill up my calendar. I've got to, work on getting into new networks, into speaking with more people. I'm growing the business. I need to be working on the business, not in the business. I totally get that. Would love to continue to focus on that, but still cut out some amount of your time as a founder to actually look and understand what do people want, right? What is the end user experience when they come to your platform? What is the onboarding process? What are all these aspects, right? Because great marketing is a great thing for your product, right? You can create and sustain growth for a long period of time. But on the other side, right, if you don't understand the entire product and the way that customers perceive your product, use your product, feel about your product, you won't be able to do any marketing, right? It's so much harder to market something that is not already a great product. So in the realm of continuing to make better products and to continue to scale your companies, and right, looking at a bunch of these case studies today, just in terms of being able to scale with paid behind it, right? This is just fuel on the fire, right? Just once you're able to do this, once you're able to put money behind it, you will have investors coming to you to have conversations around how do you grow your company and how much can they invest, right? It's a very different conversation. And this is what we've witnessed with multiple companies, is that before, they're always going out and asking, hey, will you invest in our company? We need 2 million, we need 5 million to just keep going. Our run rate is, we're looking at an end here pretty soon if we don't hit these, if we don't have any funding coming in, right? And then on the other side, companies that are actually generating money, that are actually with solid products and have found a product market fit early on have much more leverage to come into that conversation, very grounded to say, hey, look, this is what our company is doing. If you want, I'll give you a smaller percentage. You can, create way more leverage by having a conversation that way. So if you're interested in learning more about how to grow your company, about some of these insights that we learned from growing multiple SaaS companies in the last few years, now you can go ahead and check out the free training. There's a 2.5-hour webinar where we walk through all of the strategies in depth and how we were able to do this, all of the flywheels, the mechanisms, the scripts, the plug and plays, right? We give this all away within the webinar. And it's really interesting. There were a lot of great questions asked, as well as some of the people that have worked with us actually speak on the webinar to talk about these insights and how they've been implementing them. So I urge you to check that out. Totally free resource below. Check that out, the 500K per month SaaS webinar thesis. Apart from that, just follow on Instagram or X, right? That's where I'm going to be posting, and you can DM me if you have any particular questions or want to reach out and talk to the team. All right. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.